If you are talking about the idea of the conventions on your planet that involve the concept of business in terms of what you call copyright ownership, you have the person in the room with you that you need to take that up with. For it has nothing to do with my permission. It has to do with your earthly conventions. No. And you can discuss that among yourselves.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes, we understand.
Because we, in that sense, simply say that all information is available to anyone. But we also understand that on your planet, you have conventions of law that govern the idea of exactly how that information is presented and from whom, and in terms of the idea of acknowledgement of where it comes from, these things we understand are handled in very specific ways, and that can easily be done, but it's up to you to discuss it with the individual, April, that is, in that sense, shall we say, responsible for that. But it's not for me to say. You follow me?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes. Good day.
Good day. Thank you for joining us, Bashar. I am wondering what your involvement is in our experience here.
On Earth?
Yes.
Well, as you see it, we are aiding and assisting in the transformation that we recognize is going on your planet at this time by imparting ideas and perspectives and information that you have an ability to choose to absorb or not. And based on your choice to absorb or use this information that we share with you for what has worked for us, will then determine the idea of our further interaction and the degree of it. Now, we perceive it as heading toward more and more concrete interaction between your civilization and our civilization and other civilizations. But that's really in your hands. It's really up to you. All we are allowed to do at this moment, without interfering, is the idea of imparting information in the way that we are doing it now, and leave it up to you as to whether to take that information to heart and use it in a way that changes your reality in a direction that you prefer. And if you do, and it matches ours, then there is more conduciveness towards future interaction in a more concrete way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
No, go ahead.
I'll go ahead.
Bashar, I was wondering,
yes,
what do you think as far as children, the example that they have for us to learn from them?
Oh, I think you know the answer to that by asking that kind of a question in that way.
Yeah.
Many of the children being born on your planet now, in that sense, are not just another generation, they're actually another species.
Yeah.
And the idea is that they have changed in a way that allows them to be more in touch with who they really are. And thus they act as perfect examples in many ways of being a more holistic self. So certainly you can use them in that way as an example of how to be mature, but at the same time not lose your connection to your childhood ability to be more in touch with your imagination and more of your connectivity to all that is. So certainly you can always use the idea of children in that way. You follow?
Yes.
All right.
Answer my question.
And of course they represent changes going on in your reality. Remember that all the children being born on your planet and for the last several decades have never known a time on your planet when you weren't in space, when you weren't dealing with the idea of unseen energies. That is natural in their psychology, and thus that's what makes them different. They do not in that sense have the question or the doubt that such things exist. They know they do, because it's been part of their reality. It's just a matter of to what degree that they exist in their experience, and in what way they exist in their experience. But those individuals on your planet, born before a certain time, do not have the same certainty that they have now, in that sense, and with regard to those kinds of unseen realities. That to them is natural. Just look at your television programming. Just about every other one for children contains something that has to do with either extraterrestrials, other dimensional beings, spirits. You follow me? Mm-hmm. This is natural to them. And by the time they are, in that sense, the age of many of the people on your planet who now run your world, they will not see any reason why communication with beings such as ourselves, or spirits, or beings from other dimensions shouldn't happen as a matter of daily occurrence. You follow me? Those barriers are already dropped in them. They never existed in them. Does that help?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Would you ever be open to doing a class on channeling?
We have done one.
Mm-hmm.
It is, at this time, not the most efficient use of the delivering of the information. We are always open to anything, but we simply sense, in the overall scheme of things, that information of a different kind and nature must be delivered right now to best serve humanity on Earth, rather than specifically narrowing it down to the idea of teaching one to channel. Now, of course, conversely, channeling is simply getting out of your own way psychologically and allowing yourself to function as more of your holistic self and tapping into whatever it is represents the most whole expression of your being. So in that sense, anything you do that's an act of creative love is a state of channeling. And that, in some sense, is thus then what we're actually already teaching you all to do, by urging you to follow your joy. We're urging you to channel more of yourself, because that's the whole idea to channeling anyway. The process of channeling, as you're witnessing it now, in terms of my consciousness coming through the person before you, doesn't leave that person out. One of the most important aspects of the channeling is that the channel himself or herself actually also becomes more of their own version of the highest possible person they can be. Thus then, you can leapfrog over the need to actually have an entity speak through you by simply becoming more of yourself every day anyway. And thus then simply commune with other beings as equals. The only reason that it exists in this format, in terms of beings speaking through humans on Earth, is because there are still many humans on Earth that will not allow human beings to be able to integrate this way. They will not accept it. They will only accept it from what they perceive to be an exterior authority figure.
Wow.
And thus then this is a way of slowly over time getting people used to the idea that you all have this within you. And that is the whole idea, is to be your version of what you believe we are, so that we can meet as equals, not as someone who has more authority over you. But that's the way your planet has functioned for thousands of years, so it takes a little time for you to get over that kind of relationship. But that's all right. We understand that. And therefore we are happy to participate in this particular idea, but you see, the basic reason we are doing this job is to put ourselves out of a job, so that we simply can play together. You follow me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, I got a quick one. Bashar?
Yes.
I would like to know if you can sense any cosmic heritage within me, or if you can sense that
Cosmic heritage.
Yeah.
You all have cosmic heritage.
Right.
Everyone on your planet has cosmic heritage. What are you most attracted to? Any particular arena? Any particular kind of energy? Any particular kind of symbols? Those are the things that represent the ones you are connecting to in this life.
Okay.
That serve you best. Such as many people on your planet connecting to the idea of the energy that is associated with the star system of Sirius. You follow me?
Yes.
And that has to do a lot with water, dolphins, whale consciousness, and so forth. Many individuals have made that connection in this life because they understand that that kind of energy association will aid and assist them in their transformation. It's something they can relate to in terms of their cosmic heritage. Does that make sense?
It's getting there.
All right. So whatever it is you feel most attracted to, and of course, no accident that we're all having this conversation today.
Not at all.
So thus then there is obviously vibrational attraction to our particular reality domain as well for all of you, or you wouldn't be here. So it's simply a matter of taking into account all the different kinds of vibrations you are attracted to that represent the idea of cosmic connections, and simply recognizing that you have made those connections to serve you and your personality aspects in ways that you deem is most necessary to allow you to become more fully who you are as a human on Earth. It's about bringing heaven down to Earth, not about making a cosmic connection in a way that allows